researching the effect of ceramic tableware added with dry hash add to life cycle assessment, which use an agricultural waste as a substitute material in the manufacturing process of the ceramic. Some papers say that it can be improved some properties of the ceramic, like strength. By the way, every stage of the manufacturing process had a great impact on the environment. Therefore, the life cycle assessment must be used to analyze and evaluate the impact of the product. To get the result, I have to do the experiment. I have to create my own ceramic sample. Firstly, I start from prepare the raw materials like clay and light hash add. In this research, light hash add was carried out in various compositions of 0, 5, 10, and 20% by weight. Ceramic samples were then treated at different temperatures of 800, 1000, 1100, and 1200 degrees Celsius, and 3 consider properties such as water absorption, firing shrinkage, and compressive strength should be treated because of we have very the different composition and different temperature, so the result should be show the different data. For analysis and evaluation of the environmental impact, I employ the Tepe Re application program to conduct the assessment. The benefits of this research, it can be increase the value of the light hash add, and if we do further research, it can be improved on other agricultural waste, and detailed analysis of the environmental impact can be used to improve the manufacturing process of the ceramic.
In traditional, we use wastewater method for biodiesel purification, but wastewater method will cause wastewater and contaminate. It also affect to environment. From this reason, we will change wastewater method to adsorption method by use resin, and so we will study about biomass in Thailand. For the develop the resin by use biomass that easy to can find in the local area and increase value of waste pan. Bioadsorbents were prepared from different pan for adsorption of potassium ion in biodiesel, and the potassium ion value was tested by conductivity meter. The adsorption performance of bioadsorbent was evaluated from potassium ion in biodiesel at different adsorption conditions such as shaking speed, shaking period, exposure time, and the amount of bioabsorbent.
We make the bioabsorbent from different type pans, which were water heresies, cattle, and seeds. From the experiment, we get the percentage of potassium absorption by bioabsorbent. Show that the best condition of absorption, the first effect, that is the shaking speed of 180 rounds per minute for Thai bioabsorbent. For water acid and seeds, we get the shaking period of 90 minutes and 60 minutes for cattle. Then the exposure time, we get the 60 minutes for all of Thai bioabsorbent. And the last effect for water acid and cattle, we get the amount of bioabsorbent of 3 gram and 2 gram for set. We think the highest efficiency of bioabsorbent, that is cattle.
Our project is natural rubber encapsulation by spray drying. Our goal is to create natural rubber powder for convenient use with arterial polymer. To achieve this goal, we have 2 objectives. First, to study the effect of encapsulant and spray drying condition. Second is to study the effect of encapsulated natural rubber on polylactic acid and natural rubber blend. Our experiment can be separated into 3 parts. First, feed solution preparation. This part will mix natural rubber with encapsulant and dilute it with water. If the solution is too viscous, we have to decrease the solid content. And if the solution is not homogeneous, we have to add surfactant into it. The second part is spray drying. This part, solution will be turned into powder. If the powder gets stuck within the chamber of spray dryer, we have to increase the air flow rate and air inlet temperature. On the other hand, if the nozzle is clogging, we have to decrease the air inlet temperature and feed inlet temperature. And our last part is testing. We will test our product based on percent yield, moisture content, particle size, solubility in PLA, and toughness of PLA mixture.
For the result, the best feed solution for maltodextrin is 10% solid content with no surfactant. And here is our spray dry condition. The result that we get from maltodextrin is 71.25% yield with moisture content of 0.99%. We test the shelf life by left it for 3 weeks. It turned into the yellow color and the coagulate is large. However, if we break it, it's still in powder form. For hydrolyzed starch, we use the same feed solution for maltodextrin, but the spray dry condition we change air inlet temperature to 125 degrees Celsius. The result that we get is lower percent yield with higher moisture content. We left it for 3 weeks and it turned into yellow color with a small coagulate, but it many compared to maltodextrin. For acetylate starch, we use a 20% solid content with no surfactant. However, it's still in heterogeneous form, so we decided to add surfactant, and it in form of viscous liquid, so we decrease the percent solid content down to 10%. However, for esterified starch, no matter how much we add surfactant, it's still in form of heterogeneous, so we decided not to use it. And this is our end of the presentation. Thank you for your attention.
In this project, shrimp shell is used to synthesize chitosan, and carboxymethyl or CMC was synthesized from sugarcane straw. Then CMC and chitosan is then blended together to form a composite film. Then the life cycle assessment is used as a method to assess the environmental impact of the composite film. The life cycle assessment performed in this project is cradle to grave, which means that the scale of the assessment is from raw material acquisition up to the product or the film's disposal, so we can assess the environmental impact from the composite film in all stages of production. Then the film is then tested to the ASTM standards or the American Society for Testing Materials. There are two objectives to this project. The first objective is to find the effects of chitosan on the composite film's mechanical properties. The second objective is to find the CMC chitosan composition of the composite film with the least life cycle assessment impact on the environment. And the benefit of this project is that to increase the agricultural waste values, and the second benefit is to create an alternative way to deal with the agricultural waste other than burning them.
Good morning. Our project is a thermochemic study of friction ink in thin film form. A thermochemic system is the system that has an ability to change its color forward and backward due to the variation of temperature. And in this study, we use friction point erasable ink from Pilot Company. The colors are black, blue, and red.
We apply the ink solution into the 3 different types of polymers and cast it into thin film form. Those 3 polymers are natural rubber, polyethylene glycol, and polyvinyl alcohol. Our study was separated into two parts. In part 1, we studied the reversibility of the thermochromic system by heating up the films at constant heat rate and recording the temperature of the films and the water inside.
For the result, polyethylene glycol do not have elasticity. Instead, it show powder property as shown in figure B. So, which is not suitable for our study. So we will not use polyethylene glycol in our further research anymore. And for polyvinyl alcohol, the color of the film is permanently disappear when the heating rate is above 2.36 degrees Celsius per minute, as shown in figure C. And for natural rubber, the color of the film is stop reversing when the heating rate is higher than 1.7 degrees Celsius per minute, as shown in figure D. So it can be concluded that heating rate is the factor that affects the reversibility of the thermochromic system. And for each type of polymer, it has different limit of heating rate due to the difference in thermal conductivity.
In part 2, we synthesized the thermochromic pigment by using crystal violet lactone as a color former, bisphenol A as a developer, and theta-decanol as a co-solvent. So far, we succeed on synthesizing the thermochromic pigment, and we are working on turning it into liquid phase so it can be applied with various applications.
Today we present about modification of cellulose acetate and polyamide membrane for desalination. And desalination can define as any process that we remove salt from water. In Thailand, this process is important for area which is an island. For example, is เกาะสมุย เกาะช้าง and เกาะสีชัง. They can produce fresh water 10 to 20,000 liters per day. For our project, we consider at the membrane that used in reverse osmosis process. The mostly membrane that we use is a thin film composite cellulose acetate and polyamide membrane. For our study, we focus on modification CA membrane and modification PA membrane, and then we will compare in terms of characteristic of these two membrane and find out which one is better one.
We separate into two parts. The first one is synthesis modification of cellulose acetate membrane, and the second one is synthesis modification of polyamide membrane. And then we will find out the morphology by using scanning electron microscopy. And next we will find out porosity and water content, and then water flux, and the last one is salt rejection. Finally, we will compare which one is better between cellulose acetate and polyamide membrane. And we heard that when we add more polyethylene glycol, the characteristic which one is better, and the water flux and salt rejection will increasing.
Our project is the drying of moist municipal solid waste using microwave irradiation. Usually the moist municipal solid waste will contain high amount of water inside, so making it disposal via incineration inefficient. We need to use microwave irradiation to remove the moisture content before disposal.
Okay, now so the result summary gonna be like our microwave drying is faster than the conventional drying. So and also the increase of the microwave power there, so the drying will be faster. So it gonna dry faster, and also after we increase of the initial moisture content, so it's increased time for the drying. So this is our result from our projects that we have already done.
Our research topic is biomass gasification with PM fuel cell. The continuing expansion of world population leads to a growing demand of energy, and the rapid growth concerns the global warming caused by fossil fuel. Therefore, biomass is one of the potential alternative to fossil fuel due to its beneficial properties. So biomass is converted into hydrogen by the use of gasification, which hydrogen is further converted into electricity by the use of a fuel cell. A fuel cell is a potential electricity system since it can be integrated into many applications. Moreover, the extra energy left from cooling down the temperature from the gasifier into the fuel cell can be converted into electricity by the use of steam turbine.
This study aims to investigate the characteristic of biomass gasification integrated with PM fuel cell by simulating the process. The process is accomplished through the ASPEN program in order to propose an alternative solution for the production of electricity. The biomass is basically fed into the gasifier to produce hydrogen. The hydrogen is further sent to the PM fuel cell to produce the electricity. From the result, as the temperature of the gasifier is varied from 400 degrees Celsius to 1000 degrees Celsius, the hydrogen output is rising until it reaches the maximum temperature of 600 degrees Celsius, giving the highest amount of hydrogen. Therefore, the best temperature of the gasifier is 600 degrees Celsius for every biomass feed rate.
For the PM fuel cell part, we set the power output of 1 to 5 kilowatt and operate it at 3 different conditions. First, at 80 degrees Celsius, 1 ATM and 0% RH. Second, at 100 degrees Celsius, 58% RH, 2 ATM. And lastly, at 120 degrees Celsius, 3 ATM and 100% RH. As we can see from the graph, we obtained that as we increase the operating conditions, the amount of hydrogen required decreases. Therefore, the best condition or the condition that requires lowest amount of hydrogen is at 120 degrees Celsius, 3 ATM and 100% RH. Thank you for listening.
Today we are going to present project release of sodium salicylate from starch-based hydrogel. So hydrogel we synthesize starting with wheat or arrowroot starch, and then we mix with cross-link agent as borax and glutaraldehyde, or we mixing with the drugs first with the sodium salicylate. Then we synthesize to form the drug-loaded hydrogel, and then we study the release kinetic of the starch-based hydrogel and the absorbency of the hydrogel. So this graph shows the accumulated release of percentage of sodium salicylate from starch-based hydrogel in acetate buffer pH 5.5. You can see from the graph that the arrowroot starch mixing with the sodium salicylate and glutaraldehyde with 10% will give the highest of the accumulated release of elite percentage of sodium salicylate. And the second one is the wheat and the sodium salicylate mixed with the glutaraldehyde with 10%. You can see from the graph that the overall arrowroot will give the more accumulative release percentage of sodium salicylate from starch-based hydrogel, and the wheat will be the second. And the cross-link agent as a glutaraldehyde will give higher accumulative release of percentage of sodium salicylate from starch-based hydrogel. Next, this picture shows all the method we doing our experiment, starting with preparation of the starch-based solution for hydrogel, whatever to be arrow starch or wheat starch. Then we mix with the cross-link agent. The top one show the cross-link with the borax. For the down one show the cross-link with the glutaraldehyde. Then after we got the hydrogel, we will get the info like this, and then we dry with the oven at 100 degrees Celsius for 2 hours. We have the dry hydrogel in the sheet like this. Next, we study the release and water absorbency of the hydrogel is shown in this slide. That the water absorbency test and the release kinetic of the sodium salicylate from hydrogel. And this picture shows the structure of the sodium salicylate structure. And finally show the application of the hydrogel as the wound patch.
According to the traditional method, which chemicals are used in the cleaning process of pasteurization of coconut milk process, it makes a pollution on the environment, and consequently, the using of the enzymatic for the cleaning of the coconut milk pasteurization is used instead of the chemical using, because it is more biodegradable than the chemical using. Then we discovered that in the effluent of the cleaning by using enzymatic have an emulsion property which cannot separate coconut oil from the emulsion cleaning. So we apply this enzyme which we call cellulose for development and emulsion for health product without emulsifier addition. Finally, cream testing such as antioxidant test, stability test, and moisturizer retaining on skin are studied in my project.
Our project topic is the application of crack detection system in the finite element modeling of crack concrete structure. I'm gonna start with the statement of the problem first. Nowadays, many building and infrastructure are collapsed from the failure of the structure. So the easiest way to see the failure of the structure we can observe is by the crack in our building. Therefore, we try to create the 3D models that consisting with crack to inspect the strength capacity of the building beforehand to reduce the risk of the collapse in the future. To see the total progress in our project, we will go to the methodology used. The methodology is divided into 3 parts. The first part is constructing 3D structure by using visual SFM application. Before we construct the 3D structure, we have to correct the data set. The way we correct the data set is we photograph all the direction of the structure, and it will become a series of the image, and then we put the series of the image into the visual SFM application. This application will create a 3D structure. After that, after we create the 3D structure, we will go to the second step. The second step is constructing 3D solid shape by using Autodesk Inventor. The Autodesk Inventor application will convert the 3D structure from the previous step to be the 3D solid shape. This 3D solid shape will become as real as possible to the original models. And then we try to put crack detection system into the 3D model. However, because of the today technologies, the limitation of the today technology, we cannot put the crack into the 3D model. So we try to change the way to put crack into the model. We change the way by using the hand manual instead of crack detection system. After we put the crack by manual in the model, we will go to the final step. The final step is 3D finite element modeling with crack and non-crack structure by using Autodesk simulation application. This simulation application will analyze displacement, stress, strain of crack and non-crack structure, and then after we analyze the value of stress, we will compare crack and non-crack structure to prove that crack structure model has a weaker and lower strength capacity than the non-crack structure. That means the crack structure has the higher risk to create the collapse in the future. Thank you for listening.
Our project is on the effect of strain rate on clay consolidation by constant rate of strain consolidation test or the CRS test.
The objective of the project is to study the effect of strain rate on clay consolidation and to study the soil behavior under constant rate of strain loading. And so the scope of work, we decided to divide it into two main criteria. The first is to study the material is divided into two types. The first is the Kalin clay and the second is the Bangkok clay. And for the variable, we decided to study two. The first is the pre-consolidation pressure is vary into two value. The first is 60 kilopascal, representing a normally consolidated clay, and the second is 150 kilopascal, representing a over consolidated clay. And the second variable we consider is the strain rate, which is varied into three rates. The first is 0.1, 0.5, and 1% per hour. The methodology used for our project could roughly be divided into 4 steps. The first step is to prepare the sample in a 6-inch diameter mold that is apply pre-consolidation pressure. And the second step is to connect the devices together to all the electronics and the water tubing connection. The third is to test our subject, which could be subdivided into 2 more steps, which is the saturation step and the consolidation step. And lastly, when we gather all our results, we could analyze and evaluate our result and make a discussion and conclusion.
The project is ambient vibration test of historic stupa. We consider the historic structures, which are the stupa shape that have lasted for hundreds of years. They are deteriorating, meaning some of them is cracked, tilted, or falling down. Everything is decayed over time, and deterioration is caused by humans themselves and natural events. So if no one have done any any research and studies for these historic structures, they will have no evidence to maintenance or any restorations. So this requires the knowledge of civil engineering studies. This initiated the project of ambient vibration test of historic stupa to find out the dynamic properties of the stupa, which are the natural frequencies, and predict the vibration mode change. Our main investigation is the central stupa in Wat Arun Rachawararam, Rachawara Mahavihar. For the work procedure, we set up the equipment on top of the stupa, which are the data acquisition system and the microthermal sensor. It records the data in amplitude in time domain. Then we convert it by fast Fourier transform to be the frequency domain. The result shows natural frequencies are likely 3 modes. For the peak one, then we show the vibration mode shape of each stupa. The results show the vibration mode shape in each direction, which are 3 modes. So this result is useful as a benchmark for the present and compared to any change in the futures. This is an indicator and monitoring for plant maintenance. Thank you.
Our research topic is an investigation into construction waste and their root causes. These days, the construction industry in Thailand is growing rapidly. The unavoidable following result is waste. Construction waste in Thailand is a big portion in Bangkok. If we can reduce the construction in waste, the waste will be reduced in a huge amount. Our objective is to determine the major type of waste and investigate it into their root cause in order to set the measure to minimize them. Our research can save the resources and let the contractor earn more profit and save their cost of production. In construction area and nearby area will become cleaner.
As we know, that construction waste have been considered as a major problem in construction industry. We consider that this is the most problem that we found normally in the construction site.
Therefore, we set the minimize to reduce this waste and to control the waste that generated from the construction. So, after all, we went through all the research from the past. We gather the data from this research and make a fishbone to show and illustrate the construction waste into three types. The first one is construction activity that we can also separate further into handling, procurement, design, and operation. The other one is the fishbone from the construction waste from material that we can separate to many types of construction materials such as cement, brick, cement type, or any pre-mixed concrete that we generally found on the construction site. Therefore, after we gather all this data, we design a questionnaire to hand out to all the professional engineers in the construction site to answer this question. By the method that we will use the ranking method to rank this construction material and construction waste from the most to the least. By using this method, we will know that which construction waste will come for the most and which one will come for the less. After all, we conclude all the data. We will set the minimization to conclude the construction waste, to reduce this one, how to reduce all of them, by make another fishbone, such as we will make a fishbone to illustrate how to set this construction waste. After we gather our three fishbone, we will conclude all the data, and then we will use it and publish it on the public. Thank you.
Our project is the function of reservoir storage and use. The purpose of this project is to determine the risk of the water shortage using design conservative storage of the Royal Irrigation Department. Second, to apply a statistic SVD and MAR1, consider the generated multi-site monthly inflows, and the last, to verify and validate the generated monthly inflows. The methodology that we use is the singular value decomposition and multivariate auto-regression method. To standardize the data to the log normal and then follow the 9 steps to comparing the result with the Royal Irrigation Department. The reservoir that we concern is Nam Ki Reservoir. Nam Ki Reservoir is located at Nan, Thailand, and the capacity of this reservoir is 57.3 million cubic meter, and the water demand at the present is 35.82 billion cubic meter per year.
This graph indicates the functions of reservoir storage and use, showing the relationship between reservoir capacity and water demand in this area. Predictions of water shortening can be determined by drawing the graph between low reliability to high reliability, then draw to the y-axis to know the water capacity. From the results of this project, we know that the needs of reservoir construction does not need at this present, because nowadays the water demand at Nam Ki Reservoir is just only 35.822 at the present, and for the next 20 years it's just 61.792 million cubic meter per year. But this graph shows that the water demand that need reservoir construction is above 430 million cubic meter per year.
Today I'm going to present about evaluation and rehabilitation of reinforced concrete structure at case study SC2 Building A. And this building has some problem about under design of the reinforced concrete structure, because when the designer designed this building, they design the cut section of some beams and columns are too small, and some defection is occur when the construction is start. And the main point of our project is rehabilitation of the beams named PL2B8, which have problem is crack
occur because of the bending moment is overload. This problem is occur when the when we not apply any live load. So the deflection of it is more than 5 centimeters and is not past the ACI standard. So we have to find some way to repair it. And the method we use to analyze the structure of this building is finite element method. We used some computer programs to analyze the structure because nowadays we have many programs which can use finite element method to analyze the structure and easier than we calculate by hand. And this is some drawing from our programs. It is 3D drawings program and it can analyze all the information about the structure like bending moment diagram, shear force diagram, and show all the deflection from load and can tell us the structure can be used in futures or not. And the result tell us the deflection is occur and it's been like in the real situation because the deflection is from the programs is around 5 to 10 centimeters. So we have to add more external reinforcement to repair it. So, and the result gave us is when we repair the beams, PL2 BH beam, deflection is lesser than the standard. So we can conclude that our rehabilitation method is good enough to use in the real situation. So this is all about our project. Thank you.
The project is about assessments of defects in high-rise condominiums. Nowadays, there are a lot of people who prefer to live in high-rise condominiums within the city centers more than a single house that is far away. So there are many construction projects that exist in city center, especially in high-rise condominiums. And defects is the main factors that affects the whole construction project. Therefore, it will be better to know the location and type of defects to prevent the defects existence in construction projects. The objective of these studies is to classify types of architectural defects at handover stage in high-rise condominiums and to analyze the frequencies of occurrence and the causes of type of defects. The study is limited to architectural defects in high-rise condominium at handover stage within Bangkok area. Research methodologies divide into 6 main steps. The first one is general studies about defects, such as definitions, types, and categories. The second is asking raw data from land developers companies. Third, classify and analyze the defects types using basic statistics. Fourth, conduct a questionnaire survey with ones involving in construction projects. Fifth is to analyze the questionnaire survey using ranking method and followed by weighted average method to find the real result of the survey. And the last step is to make a conclusions and compare the 2 types of data that we got from the land developers companies and from the survey itself. The details of the defects will shows into fishbone diagram or Ishikawa diagrams, and I will show it later. The graph will show two types of data of two condominiums within Bangkok area. And the first graph shows general type of defects in condominiums which based on the locations and the function. For example, the ceiling, the floor, and the wall. And another graph shows the defects at different area in a room. For example, the balconies, kitchens, toilet, and stuff. And this graph is we call Ishikawa diagrams or fishbone diagram. It will tell us the defects and the causes of defects. And this one is some examples of the graph. The graph shows the defect at the balconies, and the big one will shows about type of defects, and the small one will be the cause of each defect type. Thank you.
So our project is about order allocation optimization for the packaging company. So first of all, the problem is SCG Packaging owns 9 plants, which each plant has their own orders and customers, which cause many problems with the setup time and the delivering cost. So our objective is to establish a mathematical model to be able to reallocate the orders and to minimize the delivering cost. And our plan is to first we will put our collected data into the Excel format, and then we will use the Groovy and Python as the optimization solver to solve the problems, and the output will be in form of Excel format.
Next is the model and the result of our projects from 1 year data. The model of our project is mean transportation cost equal to the summation from I of the summation from M of the summation from L of the production quantity times the weight of each product times the transportation cost. And after solving our problems that satisfy all of our constraints, here's the results from the tables. Here shows a comparison of delivering costs before and after using our math model. The tables indicate that we can reduce the cost from 105 million baht to 87 million baht, which is around 17% of the cost. And the maps shows an allocation of order for the customer, which groups the customer into the zone that the nearest plant is located. It helps the company to deliver the product easier.
This is a fishbone diagram that leads to the low OEE. And there are 3 primary reasons for this. For the first one is man. It is quite long cycle time for the extrusion machine, which come from the 2 main causes. The first one is low temperature, and the last one is low pressure while input the aluminum got into the extrusion machine. For the second reason is machine. It because the conveyor length is quite short. It came from the 2 main reasons is a lot of scrap and the low productivity. And for the last reason is a method. It is a non-matching time between the cutting and the stretching machine. For the stretching machine, it takes 3 times longer than the cutting machine. So, and the other reason is the improper working method.
Yes, and these are the results of our project. As you can see here, the top one is the result before improvement. This one is the result after improvement. And the difference we got is 0.15%. The top lines are the OEE of the world class. The availability here is the base, and we've gone over the availability of the world class. But performance and quality, we have just under them. So we have improvement on these 2. And again, the conclusion is with a success of 0.15%. And that's our project. Thank you.
So the objective of this project is to determine the supply chain of coffee and to determine the cost of coffee and the last one is to find the cost component of coffee. And this one is the supply chain of coffee that I got the result. So the first chain is about the coffee. The second one is sugar. The third one is plastic process. And the fourth is the milk. Another one is condensed milk. And the rest of two is water and ice. So all these components is go through the coffee shop in here and then will spread to the customer.
Our project is called Orders, Co-Planning and Scheduling for Packaging Factories. SCG Packaging is one of SCG main business unit. It is one of the largest manufacturer of corrugated containers in Southeast Asia. And the objective for our project is to develop the methodology for co-planning and improve order allocation for both plants by minimizing the total cost. And for the problem that we found, at current time, the production planning were made separately since each plant received the order by itself and schedule the machine by themselves as well. So we will solve this by collect the data in the form of Excel and then put it in Python and solve by Groovy optimization software, and then the output will be in the form of Excel as well.
Next, we are going to discuss our mathematical model. Our aim is to reduce the setup cost, manufacturing cost, and also transportation cost. We also have 6 constraints to limit the production, including demand, machine capacity, paper width, fruit, board combination, and also production limited per period. As you can see from the pie chart. Firstly, Pathum Thani has the production accounted for 50%, but Navanakon has only 34%. And for both of them, they can produce the same product like 14%. And after we use our mathematical model, their production unit share equally. And this is the overall improvement. We can reduce the total cost like about 20%. And some of the products from Pathum Thani are shared to Navanakon because Navanakon has higher machine capacity.
So our project is a stand-up desk. So our objective is to create a stand-up desk that reduce the economic problem for people who sit in front of computer screen for long period, and also adapt to install in the real existing workplace. Our stand-up desk use the equilibrium mechanical system and also to adjust according to sitting and standing height for correct posture of each individual. Furthermore, differentiate from the stand-up desk manufacturer that already exist by reducing the cost, maintain the quantity, and design to suit for the Thai office worker. So the advantage of the stand-up desk is first, increase the heart rate. Second is the impact the metabolic risk factor. 3 is reduce the obesity and the weight gain. And number 4 is increase the work performance. And number 5 is reduce the several of disease. So next is the disadvantage of the stand-up desk. First is increased pressure on the knee. Second is require 20% more energy. Number 3, increase the risk factor of injury, such as carpal tunnel syndrome. And the last is if you will have the best posture for standing, can lead to the injury too. And next is the mechanism of the standing desk.
Okay, so for the lifting mechanism of our standing desk, we use what we call the scissor lift, which is the orientation of a single and a double X bar to an X pattern. This allows us to use a shorter gas spring, which means we can reduce more cost. And according to the anthropometric data, the maximum height of our desk needs to be 1,175 millimeters, and the minimum height is 590 millimeters, which means from the picture that our gas spring needs to be at a stroke of 16 centimeters. The maximum forces the gas spring can exert can reach up to 2,600 newtons. And from the orientation of the gas spring, at 40 degrees to the horizontal, it will exert about 170 newtons to the vertical.
This project is about Karakuri Kaizen to help housekeeper lift water bottle to water dispenser. According to the problem which was found at engineering faculty, is the housekeeper have to lift 20 liter of water bottle to water dispenser at least twice a day. So a housekeeper have to get a back pain. So that bringing us to create the idea to make the machine and to help housekeeper lift up the water bottle in water dispenser, which was the base of the idea of concept of Karakuri. Karakuri is something that use a simple mechanic based on mainly non-electric and non-power machine like wheel, gear and pulley. So our primary objective of this project is to reduce the ergonomic problem and also safety and hygiene. So after we collect the data such as the inspection of water bottle and water dispenser as well and frequency change, we analyze the problem in deep detail with knot-lift equation and lever, and we design the machine with drawing in the SolidWorks, and we get the final prototype. After all, we get the machine which made by steel, and use the pulley system in main idea and non-electric required in this system. So work procedure is housekeeper have to cut the water bottle to bring the water bottle in water bottle frame, and then housekeeper have to cover the water bottle mouth with a plastic wrap. After that we lift the water bottle with the pulley system. This system is generated by wind of solid gear, which was decrease the human force of being to use in wind the gear. And when water bottle is in destination, we flip the frame and bring the water bottle to water dispenser, and after that wind the gear in reverse direction.
Today, I would like to present about resolution of sustainable waste management. Nowadays, toxin produced in the landfill of waste material, leachate and greenhouse gas which can create global warming. So sustainable waste management is a very important issue for everyone in the world to consider and find the ways out. And the objective of this study is about investigate sustainable waste management approach by adopting the concept of triple bottom line. In this work, use 5 main methods of waste management: sanitary landfill, incineration, plasma gasification, composting, and integrated waste management. For methodology, first conduct literature review and then conduct a set of questionnaire and collect data from experts, and the last one analyze data by using expert choice program. This diagram shows the relationship of goal criteria, sub-criteria, and alternative. Goal is resolution of sustainable waste management. Criteria are social, environmental, and economic. Sub-criteria are 15 indicators, and the last one, alternative, are 5 methods. For the results, I used expert choice program to analyze data and found that the best alternative in the viewpoint of expert is integrated waste management method as reflected by its score. Thank you for your attention.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our presentation. Today we're going to give a brief introduction in our senior project, which is waste reduction in car radiator production.
To start with, I will describe about
the process we made this year. Then I will mention some of the problems that have encountered and how we overcome them.
As you can see, this is the data of defect in car radiator production, which is about 73% overall. The intention of this project is to reduce the waste product by applying a knowledge of industrial engineering such as tool quality, quality control, cause and effect diagram, and other knowledge related to manufacturing process. There are three main types of defects we have encountered in this case study, which are tube leakage, damaged tube, and out of specification products.
We encounter those production by study and analyze those products and find out the solution of this problem. We encounter those products by study the cause and analyze this defect and find out these products by the waste data. Here is the result of the improvement. Each defect has been improved and in order to minimize the chance of the product.
Finally, after the implementation of techniques and theory on our case study, we have found that the waste proportion were reduced to 22%, and the outcome is remarkably satisfied to our associated company. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question, you are welcome to discuss anytime. Thank you very much.
Our group will present mechanical property and degradation of polybutylene succinate blend with thermoplastic starch. And the objective of our group is to reduce the cost and improve the performance of material, and also study mechanical property and degradation of polymer blend. And first, we start experimental by preparation of thermoplastic starch by blend cassava starch with glycerol by high-speed mixer for 10 minutes. And next is preparation of PBS and TPS blend. We blend with different ratio of PBS and TPS from 100, 0, 80, 20, 60, 40, 40, 60, 20, 80, and 0, 100. And then we blend PBS and TPS with twin screw extruder and cut into cylindrical pellet. And next, plastic forming method, we melt the plastic pellet by compression molding machine and cut into dumbbell shape. And the last is testing of mechanical property. We testing by using universal testing machine to find tensile strength, percent elongation, and Young modulus.
There are 7 types of bended polymer. Degradation of bended polymer are investigated by using an outdoor burial test. These specimens are removed and weighed every 10 days until 90 days. This graph will show the degradation of bended polymer. You will see that more proportion of thermoplastic starch will more quickly degrade by others.
Our group project is on process improvement for reducing the defect rate in case study of lighting equipment. First, we began with observing the data from May to August 2016 and used the Pareto analysis to analyze which defects are needed to be solved first. And it came up with the first 4 defects of silver streaks, weld dot, and contaminations. We then used the cause and effect analysis to analyze the potential cause of the defects, and it was found that silver streaks occur from the hopper dryer, and it was found that the problem of silver streaks occur from the edge of the hopper dryer, which is
being old, and the problem is that it allows the access of moisture in the dryer, and the filter inside is also broken, so the preheating process could not be done properly. So we decided to change the hopper dryer from the old one to the new one. And for weld, it was found that the cause of weld is from water. Water that was used inside the factory is a mixture of groundwater and tap water which contain direct, and it blocks the hole, which affects in the mold temperature, causing weld. So the solution to this is to renovate the water system, but it could not be done recently because our production line has to completely stop in order to change. And after the improvement, the defect rate of K37JR sealant in March 2017 shows that the defect rate of silver streak decreased from 2.42% to 0.59%, while dot and contamination reduced to 0.25% and 0.42%. However, weld increases to 2.31% because the problem of water system has not been solved yet. And the overall defect rate of 2016, which is 12.21%, was reduced to 4.53%, which is lower than the yield of 5%.
CNC milling is a machine processing of using rotary cutter to remove material from a workpiece by feeding in the direction at an angle with the axis of the tool. It's covered with a wide variety of different operations and the machine on scale from a small individual part to large heavy-duty gang milling operations. It is one of the most commonly used process in the industry and machine shop today of machining parts to precise size and shapes. Dynamometer, the one used in the experiment is a 4-component dynamometer, which is including of X, Y, and Z axis force. The dynamometer can also measure the torque, which is censoring by the filter with a multitude of shear sensitive crystals.
So our objective for this study is to experiment and compare the efficiency of two drills, the HSS normal drill and the indexable drill with a removable tip. We will use two cutting speeds to differ from the tests, and also we used cooling and non-cooling with oil and also water. For the methodology, we consider the results of the cutting speed and force using the dynamometer. We gain data from that and we plot them into a graph, and we can also look at the surface wear of both the workpiece and the drill. Now, the graph shown here, we can see that this is from the process of the drilling. It's a part of the process. It's not the whole drilling process, but we magnify it so it's easier to see. And if you can see the spikes up and down oscillating from top to bottom, that's when the tooth of the drill hits the workpiece and is trying to cut down the material. And if you can see the big spike up at the middle, that means there might be some kind of built-up edge or kind of wear or shearing going on, so that might cause that spike. So basically our study is about CNC milling machines, drilling, its efficiencies of the drills, and also to study and use the dynamometer.
Alright, I am working on step converter. The step converter is the buck boost converter. They can step up and step down voltage from power supply. Because nowadays we have many types of device and they are use many types of voltage, the different voltage. So we have to make a converter to convert because sometimes we have only one power supply. The step converter that I will use wireless to control it by using microcontroller, which is produced from Arduino. This is the component that I use. Expect outcome is to control voltage. Adjustable can be used by Android
on mobile phone. Yeah, just like that.
Today I'm going to present about analysis of stock market tendency by applying neural network. Our problem statement is that nowadays most of the people income is not higher enough compared to their expense. So the second way or third way of income is needed. And one of the best choices is to invest in the stock market because it is very profitable. Many have tried, but not so many of them have success because they don't know when to buy, hold, or sell their share. Our objective is that we want to combine indicators such as a slight dip MACD or EMA with the artificial neural network model in MATLAB program to be able to predict the trend of the next day of the stock market. So our method is that first we collect the data. We choose the stock from the stock market, around 10 of them, by comparing the close value and volume of the stock at the end of the year. Our data will be from the year 2010 until 2015. When we select the stock, we choose that the close value and volume, when they are multiplied together, must exceed 100 million. Then after that, we convert all the information we have in the Excel form to the vector in MATLAB to be able to have them as an input in the artificial neural network model in MATLAB program. And then we adjust the percent of the training, validation, testing until the number of hidden neural network and the delay. When after that, all of information we have gained as the outcome, we calculate it again and convert into a percentage of accuracy. We then compare that what kind of input and target have the most efficiency. Our result will be in the form of percentage of accuracy and then divided into the true negative positive and false negative positive. The true means that the prediction is correct and false means that the prediction is incorrect.
Age-related macular degeneration or AMD is one of the eye disease which is related to the age. People with higher age will have the higher risk in AMD. 1/10 of people in Asia has become an AMD patient and it is expected to increase in several years. While in many places in rural areas is facing the problem of lack of ophthalmologists, which would increase the higher risk of AMD. So we have created an automated screening system to screen the AMD patients faster, so it would reduce the risk of the people of losing eyesight. We also create the mobile application for the AMD to be faster and portable in screening in practical usage.
Our algorithm bases on wavelet decomposition, which used for our feature extraction. Neural network is used for our classifier. The result will be given by 4 classes: normal, arthro disease, dry, and wet type of AMD. Our algorithm was trained to provide up to 87% classification of AMD against normal and arthro disease. Moreover, 95% in classification between dry type of AMD and wet type. Here is our mobile application user interface. When image is taken by portable fundus camera, the image is pulled to our application, which for further analysis depend on user decision. Currently, we are moving on deep neural network, which perform better in classification, and we aim to increase our algorithm capability as much as possible, and we try to extend the range of quality image in use for generalizing our algorithm.
Hello everyone. We are working on the prototyping of software for teleoperated vehicle project.
Our objective is to learn about model-based development process and tool for automotive software development by using MATLAB and Simulink. The system overview here starts with the first. The driver will give an input to the Momo racing wheel, which the data will send to the Freedom board, pass through the Raspberry Pi. The Freedom board is act like a car ECU to order to front and rear wheel to move, and then the Raspberry Pi will receive live feed video from the RPi camera and the speed of car and show on the screen control.
Our software structure can be separated into three parts: the PC model, the RPi model, and the FRDM KL25C model. The first one, the PC model, it will bring the driver input to process in the ADAS block, which will be processing for the red light detection, and it can be turned on and off manually. Later on, all the data will be sent into the RPi model. In this block, it will transfer all the data into the FRDM via serial port. And in the FRDM model, this will act like an ECU of the car, which will processing the operate about the speed and the direction of the car. And then later on, this model also send back the speed of the car to the RPi model, and later on will be shown in the screen console display.
The console display will show the car speed, gear status, and total mile to the driver. The driver will sit and drive the car remotely and can see the street through the RPi, which installed in front of the car via the screen control. We bought our car to the AMAS MBD 2016 competition held by Toyota to show Electronic Thailand and won the Good Process Development Award.
With higher demand of product by its consumer, there will be much more factory being built. Humans play a big role in those factories, and as we know it, humans make mistakes. And that is exactly what led me to this project. I will be presenting you about my project, which I have been created over the past few months. It's called Pokayoke, or you can call it as Mistake Proving Processing Unit. I will break my presentation into three main parts. First, introduction. Second, how does the system operate? And finally, what is my objective for this project? First of all, what is Pokayoke? Well, Pokayoke is a Japanese term for mistake proving. Pretty much preventing any mistake that might occur, correcting those mistakes, and allow user to notice when those mistakes occur. In, for example, assembly line or production line, where mistake can happen quite normally, since that human must interact with huge amount of parts and equipment. Those parts and equipment must be installed by order, and therefore there's potential mistake can be occur. So how does the system operate? System operate by PLC and HMI. This project was specifically designed and developed to run by those two main hardware. PLC stands for Programmable Logical Controller, and HMI, which is Human Interface, and also included in all the hardware that you actually see in actual operation devices. So finally, what is my objective for this project? Well, this project is designed to prevent any mistake done by human in assembly line or production line, to increase in the overall efficiency of the system, and also allowing the user to keep track and progress of their work, even pull out the data, or even be able to customize the machine to fit their specific needs. And finally, be able to study deeply on PLC and HMI for me in terms of installation, coding, and operation is also what I consider to be my objective as well. Thank you.
Okay, so today I will present you my project. It's about analytical solution of the induction motor transient response. So first of all, I have to tell you about main aim of this research. This research is aimed at the investigation of effect of the motor parameter on the dynamic response. So the main objective of this research are to develop an analytical solution of the electrical torque and current. After that, the main dynamic performance will be investigated by variety of the parameter of the motor, such as the resistance and the inductance. Next is to find the magnitude of the starting current and the duration of the transient period. And the last one is to find the investigation of the effect of the motor parameter on the transient duration. Okay, for the last one that I will tell you on the main aim of this research is the dynamic of the stator and the rotor current of the machine in DQ as is used the substitution to convert that into the differential equation. The equation that you can see from the slide is a equation that I tell you. So in this slide and I will tell you about in the block diagram is show you how the parameter in the previous equation that I show you come from, and this block diagram the result of this block diagram view is about the torque curve. The torque curve is the main of our research because we want to know which parameter from previous equation affect the torque curve and how the torque curve is be like this. Okay.
Okay, this project represents the load control circuit by using dual tone multi-frequency that appear on every mobile phone. This is designed for the general use. In case like you forget to turn off a light or maybe alter appearance, you can manage this situation by just pressing the keypad, and it would save you a lot of time. Okay, and this project is designed for the general use and also can be customized to fit the other people use it for the maximized purpose. Then we also, and then we can set the channel in each mobile pad. In the project, we set them to turn on and turn off the load, which we include the light bulb. We just call to the phone in the circuit, and then we can manage them by pressing the keypad on our phone. Okay, in this part, this is how it works. It consists of two major circuits, which is the control circuit and relay circuit. We have spent a lot of time in control circuit with control of two microcontrollers. One of them is MTXX70, which is a decoder. We will receive the signal from our phone, and then we should set the binary output to 80 mega, which our controller to control the output to our relay system. Yeah, and that's it.
Nowadays, industrial company need to use the power unit to operate some kind of equipment. To generate the output power, we need to use the power unit as well. In this situation, in this situation, we have to use the power unit to brake something moving, such as hydraulic system. There are two main points of the braking system. The first one is mechanic braking system. The second one is electrical braking system. It's actually need mechanical braking system in the worldwide, but it sometimes takes a high cost investment. So we decide to use electrical braking system, which is called eddy current. Eddy current is generated due to the Lenz's law, so that the current will create the magnetic flux in order to oppose the direction of driven motor. So the next part is a procedure of eddy current.
So I will start at the testing of eddy current. So the testing of eddy current we test on fan motor. First, I will explain you about the procedure of testing. We take the fan motor of the fan and we separate the motor and stator. So in part of stator, we replace the new winding is about the 65 round and we use the diver to drive the rotor. So when we prepare all this, we connect the stator and rotor together and drive it. The speed of the diver is 600 RPM. So when we drive the rotor, my hand is unstable and I cannot control my hand easily. But yeah, I can say you that the result is success. Because when we test, the result is when we drive the rotor, and we supply the current to the stator, it will generate a magnetic flux and the rotor will move slower. It can be said that it's success. So this is the power circuit controlled by CR because when we finish the fan motor, we make the real one on induction motor. We use the SCR and ICTCA 785. So the combination of this we call this is a full wave rectifier. So I separate induction motor into two parts. The first induction motor is normal induction motor and the second is induction motor which generate the eddy current. So when we want to make the other induction motor, we need the coupling. So the metal that make the coupling, it should be use the metal that can endure the vibration of the two motor. So in second induction motor, when we supply the current to second induction motor, between stator and rotor, it will generate the magnetic flux from North Pole, pass through the aluminum shape, eventually to the South Pole. That's where eddy current theory occurs. Thanks for attention.
Our project is about finding the defect in the coaxial cable using reflectometry technique. What we did is we designed an experiment to test the cable. Since it is hard to find the defect that occurred because we couldn't see through the cable and the cable also has a very long length, so we performed the experiment to get the result for in the future. We can use it to develop our project and create an equipment that can detect the cable defects, which will make it more convenient, easier, and save more time and money. Another purpose is that we can use it to test the cable before every installation. Next is our method. First, we studied reflectometry technique, which we can use it by sending a voltage into one side of the cable and then it will reflect in the another end of the cable. By measuring the time difference between the injection pulse and the reflection pulse, we can obtain the cable length. Next, we studied about the coaxial cable and the current transformer. We can use the knowledge to test the characteristic of them both. Go to the next topic is our experiment. We separated our experiment into three major parts. The first part is testing the cable with and without using impedance matching network. And the next experiment is about testing the cable with and without load. The last experiment, which is the most important part, is testing two current transformer, mainly the DIY current transformer and the commercial current transformer. Next is the result. The result from our project that we get from the last experiment, which is from CT, is a graph that combines the injection pulse and the reflection pulse. The reflection pulse will be much smaller than the injection pulse so that we can find the time difference. In this picture, the time difference is D. So we can use D to find the length, attenuation, and impedance of the cable. So this is all for our project presentation. Thank you.
Having pet is quite a common thing in Thailand. People usually have pets to take care of their house from irrigator and pests like rats and cockroaches. Pet can be a very good friends to humans and can be considered as part of the families. Unfortunately, not everyone is available to take care of their pets all the time. There might be some cases where owner need to leave their house for a couple of days and cannot ask someone to help feed their pets. And leaving a lot of food all at once is not a good option because some owner need to take care of their pet's diet, and leaving a lot of food all at once can also lure pests, which creates health risk for both pets and human. So to solve this problem, this project is come up with an automatic pet food dispenser. So the type of dispenser that is created in this project is based on the tower type in the market right now. So the basic of this tower is the top part is the food container, which will gravity feed the food down to the propeller in the middle, and when the feeding time is reached, the controller will order the servo to rotate and dispense food to the bottom part of the tower, which is the food tray. And the component that is used in this project are first an Arduino board, which is used as a controller. Second, servo, which is used as a rotating mechanism to dispense food. Real-time clock, which is used as a integrated clock to keep track of time and set up feeding times. Fourth, keypad, which is used as a user input. And fifth, LCD screen, which is used as a visual output to navigate user through each mode. So this is the first prototype that it is handmade and it is handcrafted from particle wood and acrylic, just to show how the mechanism should be working and to observe the flaw that might appear. So here is the picture of the current model, which is created from acrylic. Most of the flaw that exists in the previous model is eliminated, but there are still some problem that need to be fixed later on.
Nowadays, in every academic, we have to have examination to test out the student intelligence, and various kind of cheating occurs during examination. Even though the student knows the penalty of cheating, they still perform the cheating. And the purpose of examination is being distorted. So the traditional way of preventing cheating during examination is to use examiner to watch over these students. With this project, we want to replace the examiner with the robot. So the examiner is not needed in the examination room, and they can spend their time doing other things. And the function of the robot is the robot should follow the line along the designated route in the room. And another thing, the robot will record the video playback during the examination, and this will be used as the evidence during the investigation in case cheating occurs. And another thing is the robot will deter students from cheating.
Okay, for the design of our robot, it will have 4 wheels, 1 battery, 2 motor, and control system. And in our control system, we use L29XN for control the power supply to the motor, and we can control the direction and the speed of the motor. And then we have a line tracking sensor to sensor the line for us to for the robot to follow the line and the way we have decided to go. So we will have a sensor over here at the bottom of the robot, and we will have the control system to control the speed and the direction of the robot. And we use a power supply. We use battery to be our power supply. And then, and for how the robot will move or it will run, we will put the two motor on the front wheel, and the wheel will, like, if they are straight line for the robot to go, it will just like move forward in both left and right wheel. But if it needs to turn left to follow the line, the left wheel will turn another direction, and the right wheel will turn in the same direction for it to turn over the curve turn.
This project is about automatically cleaning solar panel machine. Many people today use manual cleaning method to clean their solar. So this project is about a new design of cleaning machine to clean solar panel and make it better than manual cleaning method and reduce problem from manual cleaning method and then clean it better than manual method. There are many advantages for this project, like convenience by using control switch in automatically system and can clean solar panel from dirt, bird excrement, and also polluted land, avoiding risk from accident and scratching panel on the glass, and save cost in maintenance crew and time. There are three main process for this concept of design. The first one is the water line to release the water to the panel, and then cylindrical microbatch to clean surface of the panel, and the last one is the rubber sheet to make more it cleaning. Working process for this machine is the first one is just turn on switch of the machine and the pump water to make it run, and control machine by the switch, and also it can stop by using switch control. Starting of the machine, when turn on the machine will start to clean by wheel, and the cylindrical part will spinning to clean the surface, and then the water line from the machine will release the water, so it will mix with the spinning. So when the last part is the rubber sheet to get the solar panel more cleaning by clear water from the cylindrical part.
Nowadays, technology has significantly impact to the global, obviously in terms of convenience, speed, and time saving, which help modern people has more flexibility. Thus, we can see that the trend of smartphone in Thailand is very popular because there are a variety of applications that make people working easily and getting closer because they can communicate through social media applications. As we realize that agriculture is well known as a signature and foundation of Thailand because we have a lot of farming here. Hence, this reason why this project was created by applying and adapting technology to agriculture in order to help Thai farmers to watering plant from anyway to mobile application. Let's talk about objective. First one, to design a mobile control plant watering system that provided convenience to the plant owner, use water efficiency, and can be upscaled. The other one is to build a small prototype of the system. Let's see how it works. Initially, sensor send the signal to ESP8266 in order to display the data in smartphone through Wi-Fi. Second, when a user click on, the command will send back to ESP8266 again, and then a relay will be activated to supply an electricity for a pump which irrigate plants.
Today I'm going to present about my senior project named Robot Face with Autism. Why we do this project? First, children with autism has a problem with social skill interaction. they are unable to recognize other people's emotion and they are unable to express their own emotion. Our robot face will help them to be able to recognize the other people's emotion and also to be able to express their own emotion. As we have been studying on previous research, it shows that when robots get involved with the therapy becomes more efficient because the robot can get an attention from the autistic children. How our robot face works? First, the therapist will push the button to select the emotion. As you can see, it's a happy, sad, excited, and angry. Then the therapist will teach the autistic children to be able to recognize the emotion of this robot face and let the autistic children express the emotion follow this robot face. And lastly, we are going to test the autistic children by give them the picture of the person with various kind of the emotion and let them match which picture expressing the same emotion with the robot face. And next, I'm going to show about the design part. Every part of our robot face, which are eyeball, eyelids, and mouth and eyeballs, were firstly designed by hand drawing and then modeled in SolidWorks. And lastly, we are painted out by using 3D printing. As you can see in this picture, this is a processing unit. This is a Arduino, which are our processing unit. We're going to command by using the coding by this Arduino, and this Arduino will command the servo to move every part as the shape we want.
Nowadays, the heat that released from exhaust gas of vehicle is discussed in disadvantage. So, this project we try to convert heat of exhaust gas tailpipe to electricity by using thermoelectric generator, which is a device that produces electricity when there is temperature difference between its two sides, and then apply it to charge with battery or small device. The objective of this project are to design and build equipment that can recover heat from exhaust tailpipe of motorcycle and to do experiment with motorcycle as well as analysis results.
Okay, now let's look at the design of the device. Now, if you remember from the previous slide, the exhaust pipe of the motorcycle will go through the middle right here. So, which means that the heat will be transferred, the heat from the exhaust gas will transfer through the exhaust pipe and onto this aluminum platform. Now, the reason for this aluminum platform is to distribute the temperature, the hot temperature onto the hot side of this TEG plate evenly. Now, for the cold side of TEG, which is this side, we also install heat sink fin, which will help to keep the temperature of this side as low as possible. So now look at the experiment. Experiment is divided into two parts. The first part is to investigate the capacity of the TEG or the maximum power output that it can deliver. So for this first experiment, we did use water as a medium to remove heat from the heatsink fin instead of using air. So now the result that we observed was that the TEG was able to deliver an enough power output to operate electrical devices. Now that gives way to the second experiment, which is to test drive and also install this whole assembly onto a real motorcycle. Now the motorcycle is then driven into 3 different speeds, and we also record the data that we obtained from each speed. Now the result we obtained was that the power output was not enough. It was not enough in order to supply to general electrical devices. Therefore, in conclusion, we have to further investigate and redesign this device in order for it to be more efficient.
According to the 2014 report on Bangkok traffic control, it can be seen that the number of cars purchased per year has been on an increasing trend since 2008. Now, the number of parking spaces are still limited. This means that most cars are parked out in the open, directly or partially exposed to the sun's UV rays and the harsh atmospheric condition of Bangkok. Now, this may be problematic since UV rays can directly cause permanent paint wear. Now, all of this can be prevented. The aim of this project is to design a mechanism that helps prevent the threats mentioned earlier. The mechanism is a retractable mounted garage. It can be installed onto any kind of house design that has an open space. The prominence point of this design is that it does not require electricity to operate, and also it automatically operates with the help of hydraulics and the concept of mechanical advantages. Instead of using electricity, this design saves cost. It is much cheaper than using electrical motors to operate. And also, it is much more stable. By stable, I mean it can still operate in case of a power blackout, which always happens in Thailand.
As we know that Thailand is an agriculture country, so to keep the product lifelong, hot air drying method is widely used to remove the moisture. However, energy consumption and drying period are quite large. This research is to utilize the high voltage electric field cooperate with the hot air drying method to improve the drying rate, which is called electrohydrodynamic wind. For the principal concept of improving hot air drying efficiency, electrohydrodynamic is when high electric voltage is applied and flow charge induced to free air to circulate. Due to the effect of circulating wind, moisture on material surface move much to the hot air flow, and also heat can much transfer from hot air to material. Consequently, the rate of moisture removal and heat transfer are enhanced. The objective of the research is aim to numerically investigate the pattern of airflow manipulated by electric field relying on electrode and ground wire arrangement with console multiphysics system. By simulate the system from the practical experiment, by doing this research is considered to see the characteristic which is velocity and pressure of swirling flow pattern and the effect of electrode and ground wire arrangement on air motion.
Nowadays, wheelchair is developed by the new technology, so it has a high cost but sometimes it has a low capacity. So this is the problem that we have to design the new mini mobility wheelchair. Okay, this is the model of mobility wheelchair that I draw in the AutoCAD. You can see in the side view and how it flows. And this is the example of people who can sit in the mini mobility wheelchair.
The design challenge is to make the wheelchair in a compact form. It is also have to meet the challenge of available for the patient to operate on a daily basis, and also it must be light so that it could be portable for the patients to carry it also.